I was looking through some subreddits recently and came across something called XJW Selfies. I visited this once before, but it's been forever. So let's take a quick gander through some of these selfies that ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have taken of themselves and talk about why it's relevant in the first place. Let's get into it. I stumbled across this subreddit a while back. To the average observer, these look like super regular pictures. Nothing weird about these, just normal people. But every picture in this list is important to an ex-Jehovah's Witness. So let's take a look through and see what each one means. This one is a little interesting, and should be pretty obvious. This dude is a brony, and he's about to go to a brony convention. Jehovah's Witnesses would never approve of that. For one thing, you'd be associating yourself with a group other than Jehovah's Witnesses. They kind of want to monopolize your entire life. The caption on this picture says, "Got my nose broken in boxing. Had to skip meetings for a few weeks so no one would ask. I'm finally out though." Boxing is forbidden for Jehovah's Witnesses. He would risk being shunned by his friends and family if they knew how he got his nose broken. The caption on this one says, "Teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is far more rewarding than anything I ever did in the Borg." Jehovah's Witnesses are very opposed to any kind of martial arts. Also, he has a beard. This says, "After a long wait, I have my bachelor's degree, opposing the Watchtower Society by getting an education." I'd go as far as to say there's no better way to spit in the Watchtower Society's eye than bettering yourself. This says, "The only suit I think looks nice on me these days. Military service or involvement is forbidden." This one says, "Celebrating my friend's birthday with my worldly boyfriend and gay best friend." How many rules is that breaking? She's drinking alcohol at a party, associating with a gay person, and celebrating a birthday party at the same time. Good for you. He's wearing a beard and he has a nose piercing, flagrantly disregarding Watchtower Society rules. When I was younger, they used to have what they called dramas at Jehovah's Witnesses conventions. Now I think they just play a propaganda video for you. Anyways, the drama would act out some scene from the Bible with a message that they wanted to communicate to their members, like apostates must be killed or something like that. But when they did it, they'd have people wear fake beards, because they wanted to depict the people from the Bible times wearing beards. But they didn't want their membership to reflect that. And on that note, this is probably a good time to explain why they don't wear beards. Is it because of some Bible rule about it or something? No. It's because Joseph Rutherford did a hostile takeover of the Watchtower Society in the early 1930s, and he didn't want anybody to be reminded of his predecessor, the founder, Charles Taze Russell, who wore a big bushy beard. He was visiting the Germany branch, and they asked him for a new printing press. He told them he'd get it to them if he shaved his beard. From there, it kind of became a rule. You can't be disfellowshipped for it, as far as I know, but people around you will stop talking to you. You aren't obeying Jehovah's arrangement. You're bad association. You'll lose what they call privileges, i.e. knocking on doors, answering at the meetings, handling the sound system, or giving talks, that kind of thing. So this dude is showing his defiance for the Watchtower Society in a really good way, by wearing a beard. I only wish I could grow one that's worth a damn. The caption on this one says, "Pantsuit Day 1." I don't think there's a rule about wearing dresses as far as I can remember, but pantsuits can make women look like authority figures, and that is one thing they are not in the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. As 1 Timothy 2:12 says, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." And Jehovah's Witnesses take that to heart. What better way to say go f*** yourself? Wear that f***ing pantsuit. Colored hair, dark lipstick, and on top of all of that, she's got makeup named Sinning Apostate. Holy hell, somebody please get me some of that. I swear to God I will wear it. Colored hair and a collar. That hair is on point. This tattoo is awesome. I love it. But of course, it would be banned by Jehovah's Witnesses. Not for any racist reason, just because they don't like tattoos. Actually, in my experience, Jehovah's Witnesses have always been pretty race positive. They believe we're all Jehovah's children and our color is irrelevant, which I can respect on some level. They really try to draw the us versus them line between themselves and worldly people, rather than blacks and whites, or Mexicans and Koreans, or whatever else. So, halfway respectable, until you realize what they're doing it for. The caption on this reads, "Two Air Force vets hanging out. My first worldly best friend." Of course, military service is forbidden, and again, they both have beards. This dude's wearing a beard. Out of curiosity, I went to the comments to see what was said about this picture. Somebody said, "So you promote fornication by delivering mattresses. Congrats, my friend." He responded, "Whatever it takes." Top-notch picture. I don't know where this shirt came from, but I absolutely love it. It says, "Stay alive till 75. It was a catchphrase for Jehovah's Witnesses. In the early 70s, they made another end times prediction. They've always been really into Bible math and numbers. They know 6 is an unholy number, and 7 is supposedly a holy number that represents God. So they did the numbers and calculated that the world started in the year 4025 BCE. The 6,000th year would be complete in 1975, so it would be the start of the 7,000th set of years. So they thought, since 7 is a holy number and all that, that's when the end would come. They started telling people to make it one more year, one more month, one more week. Just stay alive till 75, and you'd never have to die.
Well, now, as Jehovah's Witnesses, as runners, even though some of us have become a little weary, it almost seems as though Jehovah has provided meat in due season, because he's held up before all of us a new goal, a new year, something to reach out for, and it just seems it's given all of us so much more energy and power in this final burst of speed for the finish line. And that's the year 1975. As one brother put it, stay alive to 75.
Oh, and she has colored hair. The caption on this one is, "Why is having a beard such a bad thing?" Well, here's my selfie for the group. It was either this or my leopard print Speedo. Nobody needs to see that. I'm glad you picked the beard. Ghostbusters shirt and a Harry Potter wand. Oh, and he's wearing a beard. All that would be forbidden if he were on the inside. This girl is celebrating New Year's Eve. Definitely forbidden. People wonder why holidays are so frowned upon. Jehovah's Witnesses cite a different reason for each holiday. Like Christmas has pagan roots, or anytime a birthday is mentioned in the Bible, somebody's head gets cut off. But the real reason behind it is because they want to separate you from the outside world as much as possible. They don't want you to have any kinship with others. They want people to see that you're different, and they want you to see it too. Plus, it's a good conversation starter. I showed this one on my last video about it. The caption says, "About 20 years since I faithfully went to a meeting, but I'm still working out the childhood damage left by teachings of extreme loyalty." Yeah, this one's breaking a rule because he's in the Air Force. Glad to see he's out of the religion. He's a police officer. Super forbidden. You aren't allowed to hold any kind of government position. She's holding an "I voted" sticker. Again, being politically active is very forbidden. Jehovah's Witnesses are very opposed to any kind of political involvement. The way they see it is they live under a theocracy. Jehovah is the leadership of the theocracy, and under Jehovah is Jesus, and then the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses gets guidance from Jehovah about what to do. You're supposed to follow the laws of the land up to the moment they conflict with what the governing body says, which is why you see the governing body telling Jehovah's Witnesses to ignore the laws in Russia and congregate and pass around the literature anyways, despite the fact that it's getting them tortured and arrested. The ultimate goal of Jehovah's Witnesses is to live completely under a theocracy with no government to tell them what to do. The elders in each local congregation will basically be the police force. They'll follow people around and investigate sins and handle everything internally. That's why they have such a problem with reporting things to the police. They live by their own standards and rules. They strive to be their own government, and being the pacifists that they are, instead of jailing people, they would just shun them. In an ideal world where Jehovah's Witnesses ran everything from the shops to the gas stations, if you broke a rule, you wouldn't be able to buy food. You wouldn't be able to rent a house. You wouldn't be able to fill your car up with gas. You'd just wander into the woods and die, with no other option left. That's the world that Jehovah's Witnesses envision. I'll pass on that. Being politically active is important, so props to this girl for getting involved, and props to everybody here for breaking some rule that's only there to hold you down and cement the mind control. It feels so good when you find your way out, and then it feels bad when you realize everything you were taught was a lie. It inspires an insurmountable level of hate and anger. It takes a lot to pass that phase, and for me, it still swells up sometimes, but I've learned to channel it into something productive. So keep fighting the Watchtower Society in any way you can. That includes leaving rebellious selfies on subreddits. If you like what I do and you want to make sure I can continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, you can support me on Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring. I'm trying to make a shirt design for every cult I've covered. I haven't gotten every one, but I'm working on it. So check it out and see if your cult is up there. Second, you can support me by checking out my game shop. I sell controller, cartridge, and game box stands for every system from the original Nintendo and Sega Game Gear to the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. So give that a look too. And finally, if you want to support me in some way other than monetarily, you can check out my other YouTube channels. I have a retro game channel where I answer questions like, why does Shy Guy have a mask? And why are CRT TVs the best way to play retro games? I also have the podcast where I talk about stuff I don't feel I can say on a monetized channel. And finally, I have my main channel where I talk about cults. I wish I didn't have to worry about dancing around subjects carefully in the first place, but I chose to do this as a full-time job, so unfortunately, I rely on YouTube's AdSense and on the support of patrons to continue doing the work I do. Anyways, check me out in all those places if you haven't already. Thanks for listening, guys.